Hey guys, it's Kenya Ray from womansreflection.com and my hubby here who is a little under the weather in beautiful weather. Um, Retro Rich. Just talking about some of the hiccups that we've encountered in this whole process of moving mountains. We are coming to you from our new home in North Carolina. We literally just got here. We're not even at 48 hours. Not even at 48 hours yet. We have accomplished a lot in in 2 days. If you stretch back 5 days, you would not believe what these last couple of days look like. Um, but we got into town yesterday around 6:30 in the morning. The old man here did all of the driving straight through the night. We made one stop. Um, we called ourselves being prepared and driving at night so that the kids would sleep through the night. Two of which were woke more than more than half of the drive, which was interesting. But there was no fighting and not much fussing, so that was okay. Um, just kind of weird, like what kids stay woke like that. But anyway, so we got in at like 6:30. We only made one stop. Our appointment to walk through our home, which let me tell you, we had never seen it before stepping foot into the house yesterday, um, was scheduled at 8 o'clock. So we just kind of so random. We parked in the Chick-fil-A parking lot
And I went to sleep.
he dozed off for a minute, literally like
Yeah.
30 minutes. Uh, I ran in, got everyone some breakfast, and then we were off to come and do our walkthrough inspection. Did you get 8 hours of sleep last night? Maybe close?
Maybe close.
Maybe close. So he got a little bit of sleep, but the work is far from done as we are um, living out of suitcases and a couple random laundry bags. Our furniture will not be here until maybe Saturday, possibly Monday. Um, and so it's interesting. We did go ahead yesterday and get the kids registered for school, and they started today. By and large, good first days, right?
Mm, it's 50-50.
Well, she said it wasn't awful. It just, I think it's a little slow for her.
How can you? I mean, before she even spoke when she got in the truck, she hated it.
This is your daughter, though. She is dramatic. Like, she always puts a little fudge on top to try and, you know. At any rate, she still says she loved North Carolina, so we still winning. She said the school reminded her a little bit too much of elementary school, so that was why she was kind of feeling a way about it. And she's not your average 13-year-old. I mean, she thinks she's grown. She thinks she's an adult in her mind, I think.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. With her, it's a little different. But anyway, so nonetheless, we are here. We are making it work, or as I've been saying, thugging it out. Because, yeah, I mean, we're sitting on the floor, there's no chairs. I guess we can't really say we thugging it out when we got a flat screen right here, though. We
Yeah.
did bring our TVs on the road trip, so we do have TVs. So that's not all the way thugging, but we don't have groceries, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's a problem. We gotta rectify it
ASAP.
ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah, because buying out for a party of five for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Listen, we told y'all we quit our jobs, right? And this was a leap of faith, but that's just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna fix that in the AM
Yeah.
after we drop the kids off.
Immediately.
Immediately after.
Yeah, immediately.
So, but yeah, so by and large, everything is everything. It's not awful. Like the house, I love the house. I think it'll be, once we can really get our furniture in here and all of that, it'll be a good homey space, right?
Yeah.
Nice house. And so good with that. Um, but as we had shared with you guys on Periscope, what, about 2 weeks ago, we were just telling you the backstory about how we got here. And, we got a lot of comments and a lot of people telling us how excited they were and proud of us and blah, blah, blah. And one of my friends really made me realize that maybe I didn't talk about the journey as much as maybe I should have, because she made the comment that, girl, you make this look so seamless and fluid, like everything is just going. It has been, I will say that it has been a blessing all the way through, because we have truly seen God move in things, even when we thought, oh crap,
Yeah.
things still kind of have worked out. But seamless and fluid are not words that I would use to describe the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to talk about the hiccups that we have been experiencing over this whole journey process. Um, what you got in terms of hiccups? Give me one.
The first one was probably, well, I won't say the first one, but um, the inspection that the buyers had done on the house. Um,
Yeah.
returned quite a few things that thankfully weren't deal breakers, but sounded like they could be.
And they were costly things, like
Yeah.
not the house was in good shape. We have, for the last almost 4 years of being in that house, literally been working. My husband here has put in his blood, sweat, and tears. I haven't seen him cry doing the work, but I know that it's a couple tears shed in that house from the labor that has been done. And so the things that they came back with were mostly like cosmetic things. I mean, the things that we did end up agreeing to fix were, I mean, they weren't even safety or hazardous or anything like that, but it was things that realistically we would have wanted fixed and we might have asked to. But when we got the list at first, everything had been feeling to go pretty good, because we got the offer, and then, we did have to do a little bit of countering, but at the end we got what we were asking for, and I'd like to think that they got everything that they asked for, and it felt like a win-win situation. And then when the inspector came out, the inspection happened really fast, which I wasn't prepared for. I mean, the guy was only there for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it took him 4 or 5 days to get the report to us.
Yeah, maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that. And so at first we were like, well, no news is good news. So maybe, it was cool. And then when we got the report, it was things like redo the driveway. Redo the patio, because I mean there were some like cracks in the concrete or whatever, but that's cosmetic. That's, we want it to look nice. They got a house that had been, every room of the house had been redone with the exception of one bathroom out of the three. One bathroom had not been touched, and had we been there a little bit longer, it may have been. But cosmetically speaking, the house was beautiful, and it was totally not the house that we moved into just 3.5 years ago. So, again, neither one of us got a rise out of it. I mean, it didn't get a rise out of us.
No.
We prayed about it, talked to our agent about it, and said, let the cards fall where they may.
Yeah.
And the cards fell. They fell in a good space. We ended up being able to come to an agreement, so that was cool. We moved past that, and then what came after that? I think the initial one was when we told our daughter that we actually sold the house.
No,
Her
the
response.
the initial one was when we told her we were going to sell the house.
Yeah, that wasn't.
That was the initial hiccup.
But when she thought when we told her that we were putting the house up for sale, she thought that we still had another year. I mean, 13 years old, she really doesn't have a concept of how the whole real estate thing works and all of that. And granted, the house did sell fairly fast, so I think that caught her off guard a little bit. But she thought she would be returning to school and getting in the last grade of junior high school with her already established friends and then moving. Um, Probably because she had always heard us say that if we were going to make the move, it would have to happen before she went to high school. So I think in her mind, she just thought that meant, okay, at the end of eighth grade, then we'll just be moving then.
Right.
And so when we told her that the house had actually sold, we got some tears and why so soon?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was short lived. I mean,
Did it subside before she came down here when we
yeah.
came to find the house? So she was better before then?
Well,
Her
because
coming here just kind of solidified it.
it solidified it, but then we gave the incentive of volleyball,
Volleyball,
and that made everything.
that turned it into cookies and
Yeah,
cakes.
it was all good.
Yeah, and she has a sweet tooth. That's why I said cookies and cakes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yes, that's what happened. She originally was not going to be allowed to play volleyball this year, and that is actually what she's passionate about, at least right now. But she didn't end the last school year on the greatest note, and she had made a deal with dad that if she got to run track at the end of the school year, um, that she would prove that she could keep her grades up and participate in track. And if she didn't, then the consequence was that she could not play volleyball when school started. And she didn't hold up her end of the deal. Um,
yeah,
and so we told her she couldn't play volleyball. And that was a hard pill for all of us, actually, because volleyball is the first thing that she has actually been really excited about. And she's really good at it. And um, it's just something that motivates her. I mean,
yeah,
she's into it, and this is the first thing that we've seen her like really into like that. But the parameters were put in place, and she had the choice of choosing not to run track so that she could go full throttle with volleyball, and she didn't hold up her end of the deal. So we had to make the hard decision to exit.
yeah,
Um, but when we thought about the move and how it might have been affecting her, and how she might feel having to make the move and make it sooner than she thought, the compromise was that when we got here, since she would be transferring to a new school, that we would let her get involved with volleyball as a way to help her make new friends and just to get into her element, because volleyball really takes her there. And I knew that would give her an incentive to fully focus in school and all of that. And so
yeah.
that was the overcoming point of that. And then it ended up that we didn't have sitters available to do um, to keep the kids for us to come back and find a
Oh,
place.
another new hiccup.
Yes,
Yeah,
I guess that's transitioning into another hiccup.
yeah.
So we didn't have sitters, and we had this offer on the house. And when did we come here? Was it the end of July? So we
No,
had it
it
like
was
a month.
the beginning of August.
It was the beginning of August, because by the time we
August
came
5th.
back, it was like 2.5 weeks before it was time to move.
Yeah,
So we didn't find a place to live until um, just under 2 weeks before we were scheduled to move. We had set our move date and everything. And so we made the executive decision that it had to happen. So the old guy here stayed home with the boys, and me and Naya set out to find us a place. So we flew out here. We had 2 days, literally a total of 48 hours, because our flight was like 9 o'clock that Tuesday and then coming back 9 o'clock that Thursday. So we had literally like 48 hours to try and find us a house. And so we came, we looked at some places, we found a house that we fell in love with, and did an application on the house. And the rental properties out here go like really fast. And so um, we thought it was all good. And this is now another hiccup. because as we were, playing things over in our mind, we had did the rental application. Everything should be fine. This is where we're going to move to. The house is in the area that we wanted to live in, and it's nice and it's big enough, and it had the features we wanted it to have. And we got an email at like 11:30 at night, saying we decided to go with other applicants. There was another application put in before yours. So we were at square one. The house that we had picked as our second choice was no longer on the market. It was gone just that fast. And we had to find some place to live, but we weren't here anymore. So, by the grace of God, he worked it out. Again, we had a friend come over. We found the house online. We said we liked it. Price was okay. It was at the top of the budget, but we said if it had what we needed it to have, then that was fine. So she came over. She FaceTimed us, did a walkthrough on the house, and we applied for the house right after we got off the phone with her. And I'd like to say within an hour or 2 hours, we got an approval notice. And we're moving forward with this house. I mean, it was interesting, though, because like we said, we had never physically seen the house until we pulled up with with our stuff yesterday. And so that was, were you nervous about that? I mean, we really didn't discuss it. We just kept moving.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous.
Probably didn't have time to be
I
nervous.
didn't have time to be nervous. It's just like, okay, we got somewhere to stay, really.
And being that as our plans go, we'd like to stay here for a year and then visit buying another home. And so it probably was just like, okay, at least we got somewhere.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of what it was for me, but in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking, I hope this accommodates my family well. I hope this is a place where everybody feels comfortable. What is it going to be like in terms of the neighbors, because we didn't get to see any of that, or, all of those things that you kind of look at when you're looking at a house. We didn't get the opportunity to check any of that out. So far, so good. It seems like a decent community that we're in, and there's diversity over here, which is important to us. The schools are in a decent proximity. They seem to be diverse from what we can tell. So far, the people have been exceptionally nice at the schools, accommodating, and all of that. So that's been really cool. You had a more personal hiccup for you with your granddad's response.
Yeah, granddad's response, probably after an offer was even made on the house, was I just thought we had gotten further than that in our conversations about it over the years. And when I told him that I was really about to get out of there, his response was, "I think you made it here long enough. You might as well just stay here." I wasn't expecting that particular response.
Yeah, especially seeing as how he kind of did the same thing with his family, being that he relocated from where he had grew up, and felt for whatever reason that he had to go to a different place.
Yeah.
For whatever his reasons were.
Yeah.
So I thought too that he would have at least that level of understanding. Like, while he didn't want you to directly leave him, like our friends say, selfishly, I don't want you to go, but go. You didn't really get that
No,
response.
I didn't get it. I kind of understand a little bit. I mean, it's been a rough last couple of years, but I just wasn't expecting that response. Mm-hmm. Even in light of the last couple of years, it seemed like it would be more like, you know what, you should go ahead and do that now. Like, my grandmother is more, go ahead and do it. You should do it now. Live your life.
And just also say that you're particularly close with your grandparents.
Yeah.
Granddad is identified as more of a father figure than just a grandfather. And not to say granddads aren't important, but he kind of holds a double role. You know what I mean? And so him his opinion is like that of a father, I guess is the point that I'm getting to. Like if you go
Yeah.
to your parents and your parents give you some reason to feel away, that's essentially what you have happening here with your granddad because of the
Yeah.
role that he has. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that, even though we've been moving forward and we had already secured things and things like that, so it wasn't really an option to be like, okay, we're not going.
Yeah.
I could personally see it weighing in on my husband and just, his wheels are turning. And I probably ask you almost every day, like, how do you feel? What's going
A
on?
couple times a day.
It's not a couple times a day, it's maybe every other day.
No, it's a couple times a day.
Anyway, um, tomato.
Yeah.
I'll ask him how he's feeling or whatever. Just, having some dialogue about it. And he usually has a response that's indicative of the fact that that part is weighing on him. And then even recently, down to this past week, as we were actually loading up and packing up and preparing, and like this is really happening, moving, then another hiccup with granddad.
And yeah, my granddad and grandmother got into a car accident
Well, two 2 days before we were to leave. It happened Wednesday,
Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah.
and we left. Oh, so like
Sunday.
3 days.
3 days
We left
before.
Sunday. Yeah.
But I had to have the pods loaded by Friday.
By Friday. So we used pods, or I guess it's not the technical name to use because they're not the pod company. We use a company called 1-800 Pack Rats to move.
They're containers.
Containers, that's what it's called, containers. So they come, they drop off the containers, they give you, a certain amount of time to load them up, and then they come back and pick them up, and they will do the transport for you. And we found that to be the most beneficial option for us for several reasons, because of the time frame that it gave my husband to be able to do the loading and have help loading up and things like that, the space capacity, but more importantly the price.
Yeah.
Because a out of state move is ridiculous in terms of pricing.
Yeah.
The estimates that we've seen, um, yeah, yeah, the estimates. I don't even have words
Yeah.
for the estimates that we've seen. So they were very good in pricing, but then we also, on the back end of that, you still have a significant amount of time that you are able to keep them. Like once they drop them off here with our belongings, he has time to unload them. So I think we get to keep them for a total of like 30 days, which makes it easier in terms of however he strategizes the moving in of our stuff. And we have so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like we sold stuff, we gave away stuff, we threw away stuff, and we still have stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about overwhelm, overabundance,
Yeah.
excess. It is so much stuff. Like when we get our stuff here, we will still be purging because it's ridiculous. And so, I guess you could say that that was a hiccup to the amount of stuff we had, because then we ended up, in addition to, we loaded everything, and he came and looked in the house and he was like, B, we still got stuff. What are we going to do? And at first I'm like, oh, throw this in the truck, throw this in the truck. And it's like, okay, but we have to ride in the truck. And he was like, I'm going to have to get a trailer. So that was another hiccup. We ended up having to go get a U-Haul trailer that we pulled on the back of our truck with some of our stuff. And it is packed to capacity, or
Yeah.
it was packed to capacity. And there's still stuff that we had to say, okay, this isn't going to make the cut.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. That was a hiccup in that it was an added expense, but had we known we would have to do that, then we also could have loaded differently in
Yeah.
terms of the things that we brought. Like we could have brought our pots and pans so that we could at least be cooking meals now, or we could have brought, what's some other things that we might have brought? Maybe even some toys for the
Yeah, some
kids to kind of
toys.
occupy them
Well,
a
they
little
got
bit
they
better.
have some toys, their trucks and stuff.
It's a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, maybe their bike. Well, there's no sidewalk, so but something different,
It would
something
have
out of
we
the
would have
ordinary.
thought about it
Yeah.
at least. We would have thought about it because literally
Chairs.
chairs. Yes, we are
Yeah.
sitting on the floor at all times,
Yeah.
or standing. I'm not growing anymore. You still growing? I'm done
No.
growing. So it's not fun standing. But all in all, God is still showing Himself faithful in all of it because we have been able to. We're here. We've made it here,
Yeah.
and yeah. Oh, with your car, we had to. That was a hiccup. We
Yeah.
originally planned to
Yeah.
pull your car, and when we got the estimate for the car trailer, we found that it was just cheaper to fly my husband back home and he make the drive again.
Yeah.
Which in my mind wasn't all the way bad. I don't know that he necessarily saw it that way, but I kind of thought of it as, him spending the last week loading and going through everything that he was doing preparing, and that was even before anything happened with granddad, that that time would give him a little bit of downtime because he actually likes to drive. But to be able to take that drive in peace, crank up his loud music, and just ride out on the highway, I figured that that would be somewhat therapeutic for him and give him just a bit of a break. Um, but in true Hampton fashion, nothing happens as planned. So while he will still go and fly back, we did end up having to spend the money on the trailer for our belongings, which might I add still was cheaper than the car trailer.
Yeah.
That was part of it too, because we thought we would be able to stash some stuff in the car
Yeah.
when we pulled it. So that had took away from. Even still, that wouldn't have worked out with the amount of stuff that we pulled in that trailer. Yeah. So it again, one of those things you look back and say, okay, God worked that out.
Yeah.
Because had we originally did it the way we planned, then you would have been driving a U-Haul back. You would have been flying and driving a U-Haul back. So either way, so he will have to leave and go home, or this is home, huh?
Yeah.
Go back to our old house and just clean everything out of there. We still have like trash and stuff in the garage because you have to schedule a special pickup. You can't just sit the stuff out on the lawn. Um, Go check on granddad. I imagine you plan on doing when you go.
Check on
And oh yeah, you didn't get to finish fixing the one thing, so you got to fix that when you get there. But then he gets to drive back home in his car by himself with his loud music. So it'll be like he's 25 again.
Yeah.
In your 25 car, yeah, that was your car from your 20s too. That's his baby. She's my competition, huh?
It's RJ's now. I can't.
But yeah, so that was another hiccup. And so, all of that to say that we leaped, but we had some things like trying to hold us back.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been all roses and it hasn't been fluid, and it's been lots of prayer.
Yeah.
Lots of refocusing and readjusting. I think, and you can tell me if you have anything different, but I think like when I think about it, you know how they say faith without works is dead. And it just goes to show that you have to move. Like you have to have faith, but you also have to move. But you have to be open to the readjustment. Like God's plans are greater than ours. And so when you have to make those adjustments, this has been a prime example of that for me. And then still seeing things pan out, like not how we thought that they would.
Right.
I mean, nothing has happened exactly as we envisioned it. And I think in life with other things, we get frustrated when that's the case, when in turn everything is already working for our good. We just don't choose to look at it that way.
Right.
And I even had a moment when my computer crashed. That was the other thing. My site crashed in the middle of the move. And I was getting all huffy and puffy, and I had just got done giving him a speech about you need to be calm and collected, and some things you just won't be able to change, and blah blah blah. And literally, I don't even think it was an hour later, and he was like, "Might I offer you your same speech?"
Yeah.
And you weren't even being a jerk about it, but it was just a
Well, I'm never
reminder.
being a jerk.
No, you're not ever a jerk. I think sometimes you do things to kind of poke at me, though. You plead fifth.
Carry on.
No, but you were gracious about it, and you were like, "Might I offer you that same spiel that you just gave me?" And it did shift me back into focus.
Well, yeah, because you were going through a whole rant about not having what you needed for your website and your computer, and we had went to a store to try to rectify the situation. And
oh, that was my internet card.
Yeah.
That was all separate because I thought I lost my internet card in addition to the site being crashed.
Yeah, and they kind of went together because we didn't have the internet anymore at that point.
So I couldn't fix anything.
So you couldn't fix it. So it was just like, you can't really just tell me what you just told me an hour ago and then go into this space. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
it brought it back into focus.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
And then what happened? What happened like 15 minutes after that? Excuse me.
I came home and found my internet card. When I was about to buy another one, I had my mama who was on vacation in Michigan about to go to a store to get a card. It was a whole fiasco that didn't even have to happen.
Yeah.
So it was again another moment of God just being like, just be still. Just move out the way. So I think that has been one of the biggest things that I've just seen happening, and how even, things just don't go as planned. And that's okay, because it can still go.
Yeah.
And we're still leaping. And we still got a lot of road ahead of us.
Well, I think we've leapt. Is that a word?
Leapt.
We've leaped.
We took a leap.
We took a leap.
That sounds like anyway.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Anyway, we actually did it.
Yeah.
But there's a journey to be had from the leap.
We're falling right now.
We're falling.
We're free falling right now.
We are free falling. And we are either we're figuring out how to learn to fly or to see a safety net.
Yeah, that parachute. I want to know that parachute.
The parachute.
Eject, man.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good way of, we have taken the leap.
Yeah.
But now we will see what comes of it. And again, just having an open heart and mind. Staying prayed up about it. Taking care of responsibilities as we need to. And just tuning in.
I think probably another component we have to make sure we add somewhere in here is making sure that we get adequate rest. Because we can run ourselves totally raggedy, right? And
then you don't get to hear anything.
You don't hear it. You don't perform well. And right now we got to be on our A game. You know what I mean? And it's not to say we're gonna lay around and sleep all day.
Cause ain't nobody got time for that.
Nobody has time for that, but we have to get rest. It's only so much that we can do.
In the hours in the day. And we need to allot the time for rest. That's true. That's a real reflection, because we will get to a point where we're going on full throttle. Like, for instance, the night that the day that Granddad went into the hospital was supposed to be your loading day, and you ended up having to go be at the hospital, and then you were there longer than you thought you would be. I was left at home with the kids, and then having to pack, which I think I told y'all before, is not my strong suit. But again, on that day, God just gave me what I needed. My uncle came by and brought some extra packing supplies and whatever else, because he saw me packing glass dishes with grocery bags. My friend came by and brought her boys, hey Valencia, and started helping pack. And she came straight in, rolled her sleeves up, and said, "What we got to do." Her boys watched the baby boy for me, which is like the biggest deterrent when trying to get something done. Um, my baby girl stepped up and was just like, "Come on, mom, let's get this done." And she was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning with me. And she is the person that will go to sleep on you in a minute. Like when she's done, she's done. And she really was a trooper that night. You ended up not getting home till what, like 3 in the morning,
Yeah, 3.
and I barely slept because I was worried about him. I heard him come in, and literally I heard packing tape and boxes being shuffled. He started loading. He came straight in, started loading. Would you lay down for like 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
When I came downstairs and found him in the middle of the family room floor with a beanbag chair as a pillow and a blanket, and he wasn't even asleep. He was looking at me when I walked up on him. So I don't even know that you slept at all.
Yeah.
And then you went full throttle the next day. Sunday, we finished loading all day. Well, we went to Toledo for a wedding reception. Saturday, drove
Yeah.
back Saturday night, got up Sunday morning, went and got the U-Haul, started loading, spent the whole day loading. You went to go see Granddad. He did not get not one lick of sleep, and then we got on the road. I think by the time we finally hit the road, it was 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He drove the whole 9 hours, the entire 9 hours with one stop.
It was one stop.
We
Just
made
one.
one stop. We made that one stop to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And he was whooped. And then
Yeah.
even yesterday, once we got here, you slept in the parking lot, and you didn't go to sleep until last night. You went all day yesterday too,
Yeah.
off no sleep. So you were up for like what, 36 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, rest is important.
Yeah.
But there was just an update. Just wanting to share that it's not all roses, it's not all peaches. It is beautiful though. I will say that there's beauty in it. You know what I mean? And having the time with the kids and seeing them, be in this space. The little one has known no other place than the last place because I was pregnant with him when we
Yeah.
moved there. So that's been home as far as he's known it. I don't think he's fully grasped that we don't have the other house. He keeps telling everybody that he's at his North Carolina house.
But that he has to go back to the
To
other house.
Ohio house. Yeah, he just calls it the other
The
house.
other house. Yeah.
Not knowing that he's not going back to that house.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll forget about it. I don't know. Um, and then just seeing everybody together, like
Yeah.
it has its moments where it's like, oh my God, what have we done? But I think that's part of the process. I think that'll get easier too.
Yeah.
So now we are trying to find appliances and stuff that we need, and then maybe a little bit of stuff that we want, like furniture.
Yeah.
um, and get situated and settled, make it a little bit more like home. So that's pretty much it. What else you got?
I don't have anything.
All right. Well, to stay in tune with the journey, you can always check out the YouTube channel, Periscope at I am Kenya Rae, RAE, or on the blog at womensreflection.com. Occasionally, I am just posting random pics of the journey on Instagram at I am Kenya Rae. And yeah, it'll be updated as the journey continues. So we thank you for tuning in, and feel free to comment, share, shoot me an email, whatever you feel led to do. Be blessed.